Now the pitch. Line shot. And fair up the left field line it goes. Around second, on his way to third. Coming around third, flying around third. Isbell dives at home plate. Royals win it. Maikel Garcia hit a bullet past third base.
The Hall of Famer Denny Matthews could not have described it better. The Royals win in walk-off fashion in the series finale against the New York Yankees this Thursday, putting up a score of 4-3. Let's talk about it, shall we? Welcome to the Royals Recap. My name is Jacob Milham. I am one half of the Royals Rundown podcast. If you're tuning in, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I know it's I'm actually trying to do video. Let's go around. Let's see what happens. But if you're listening to us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from, please make sure to give us a review, a rating, however it is. Just be honest about your opinion of the podcast. We appreciate it, whether it be good or bad, because at the end of the day, you're still listening, and that is why we are talking. Now, this game, let's be clear about one thing. This game should not have been decided in a walk-off manner, I will say. There were so many times that the Royals were very much in the driver's seat of this game. Ever since Vinny Pasquantino put them up 2-0 in the bottom of the fourth, it was still a 2-run game. I get it. But this felt like the Royals' game so far, and that was all because of Alec Marsh. All right, let's talk about the starter real quick, because the rotation in the past couple of weeks have been plagued with subpar for them performances. Okay, there was some good, but then there was some downright bad mixed in there. Okay, the starting rotation against the New York Yankees, they were just looking downright bad for most of it. And then Alec Marsh comes in with an absolute gem on a Thursday afternoon in a sweltering Kauffman Stadium, throwing 7 innings of 1 hit, no run ball, 7 strikeouts in that time frame, struck out Aaron Judge multiple times, and he only had 2 walks, limited, didn't allow a long ball. So those two benchmarks for Marsh are way more valuable than his strikeouts, in my opinion, because it was always the long ball and it was always allowing free base runners that really hindered his overall ceiling. Well, now you blink, and the guy's ERA is down to 3.63 on the year. All right, he is definitely making a push to push himself up the pecking order of the Royals rotation. So good on you, Alec. Really just coming back and reminding fans, hey, this rotation is still really good. And then, unfortunately, the bullpen came in and reminded fans why they weren't so good. Now, I do want to give this preface here. John Schreiber has been a very reliable arm out of the bullpen for much of this season. And it is worth noting he only gave up 1 earned run. All right, the Royals had the inning-ending ground out hit to Garrett Hampson. He bobbled the ball, didn't give a good hit or good throw to Vinny Pasquantino. Nearly pulled him off the bag, but Vinny couldn't hold on to it. So that error right there when Schreiber was pitching in the top of the 8th, that allowed the inning to keep going. Now, Anthony Rizzo had already hit a solo home run, no outs, first batter that Schreiber faced, and the Yankees were trailing 2-1. So that's definitely not an insurmountable lead. But then, Anthony, all it takes is Anthony Volpe. He grounded out, and that's Jahmai Jones, I believe is how you say his name. He scored the tie-in run from third base, and then Juan Soto, the singles walk and just hitting savant that he is, singled. And that scored, let's see, who did that score? That scored Trent Grisham with 2 outs left. So it was a little ugly. It was. They're in the top of the 8th inning. And all it took to erase Marsh's gem of a game, his stellar performance. Something that you probably could have argued we want more Marsh, even though he was sitting at 96 pitches with a good chance to face the top of the Yankees lineup once again in the top of the eighth. I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. So Schreiber comes in. By the time he leaves, 3 more runs are scored by the Yankees. Kansas City's trailing 3-2. And thankfully, Angel Zerpa comes in, cleans things up. And the Royals, they had some opportunities in the bottom of the 8th. Salvador Perez came to the plate with 2 runners on and 1 out. But unfortunately, he flew out to shallow right field, so that was not a productive out. And then Nelson Velasquez, I will say this, he was called out on strikes. Go watch the highlight, go watch the broadcast. That ball was outside of the zone. I get it. It was close, but Velasquez was in the right there to be taking to try and draw a walk. The count was full, 3-2 with 2 outs. And you go, the idea was right. Okay, get a fresh count for a new batter, load up the bases, see what happens. But he got called out on strikes. It was an unfortunate change in the game. And I was not very comfortable seeing James McArthur come up in the top of the 9th inning. I get it. He is supposed to be the high leverage guy for the Royals. He kind of hasn't been, or he hasn't been trustworthy in those situations in a little while, it feels like. But thankfully, he earned the win today. Pitched a 1-hit, no run, top of the 9th inning. Did strike out 1 batter, namely Aaron Judge. So that was pretty impressive right there. Let's see here. Yep, MacArthur moves to 3-3 on the year. That's what I was looking for. So, Royals come back around, bottom of the 9th inning. The cardiac kids, we got to start calling them. All right, according to Royals PR, Kansas City today, they were in line for their 17th comeback win of the year. And all their victories in this past homestand have been in comeback fashion. So they haven't had that one dominant game in front of these Royals fans. It's always been exciting, which has its own value. I get it. And what better way to send the fans home happy Thursday afternoon than in this fashion, in the fashion that you heard from Denny Matthews. And this was a lot of guys coming together to make this happen. Drew Waters singled on a soft ground ball, just diving into first base, barely beating out the ball. That was key. It really, really was a great hustle play from Waters. Still, trying to make that first impression on Royals fans in 2024. MJ Melendez, unfortunately, ground into a force out, so Drew was out at second. MJ was safe at first. You have 2 outs and Kyle Isbell coming up to the plate. Kyle Isbell quietly been on a heater at the plate, and that continued today. Maybe not a heater. He's been solid at the plate. He's hitting .381 over the past 7 games, which is very, very good on the Kyle Isbell scale. On the Kyle Isbell curve, I think is how we should call it. Singled on a line drive to center field. Lo and behold, that puts runners on the corners for the top of the order. Maikel Garcia, who was in a slump of his own, coming to the plate on a 3-for-30 run, I believe it was. And Rex said it best. I'm not a proponent in the, this guy is struggling, so he's due for it. He's due for something. He's going to turn that corner real quick just because he's been on a slide. Rex said it. I didn't believe it. So, Rex Hudler, kudos to you, because Maikel Garcia comes through with that double to left field, right down the left field line, scoring MJ Melendez, and then Kyle Isbell with an immaculate Superman dive into home plate. Gives the Royals the win, 4-3 in the bottom of the 9th inning. It is insane that after the MJ Melendez ground out, Kansas City had just a 9.6% chance of winning. And then Kyle Isbell bumped it up to 19.5 when he singled. And then Maikel Garcia took it all the way to 100%. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. Some other things of note from today's game. Let's talk about Matt Quatraro. All right. It's not every day that you hear about Matt Quatraro losing it on the umpires, because it hasn't happened a whole lot. He's only been ejected 4 times in his career. One of those times coming today when he went off on second base umpire Paul Clemens after Clemens failed to see Anthony Volpe's foot covering up the entire side of the second base bag, obstructing Bobby Witt Jr. when he was trying to steal second in the 6th. This was his first ejection since last August on August the 7th against the Boston Red Sox. And Q was heated. He really was. You go back and watch that video clip, that man was getting onto him because it was twofold. Now, I was listening to the game at this point, so you'll have to forgive me, but Jake Eisenberg was recounting that there were 2 things going on. One, there was a possible balk that Q was arguing for. And then at the same time, Bobby came back to talk about what happened. And it was, you go back and watch the replay, and it's just Volpe's foot, the side of his foot pushed up completely against the bag, obstructing it. Like, what's Bobby supposed to do there? And especially according to the rules that they have now, if Bobby went out there the next inning and tried to do the same thing, he would get called for obstructing the bag, I'm sure. Now, it didn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but I know Matt Quatraro has his detractors out there talking about that he's not animated enough and things like that. It is him reserving that for moments like this that make it much more impactful, I think. And I am sure that it was good for Royals players to see him come out of the dugout and back them up in that manner and so brazenly. All right, there's going to be a good John Boy Media lip-reading breakdown on Matt Quatraro today. I'm looking forward to that because that man had some choice words for that umpiring crew. A crew that has not been great this series against the Yankees. But have we seen a great umpiring crew this year at any baseball series? I'm sorry. It seems like there's at least one issue every single game, no matter who is calling balls, strikes, things on the base paths. I don't know. I was very, very surprised by the Kauffman faithful who turned out. That game was raucous. It was rocking. I loved it. Especially on a Thursday afternoon, and you have 21,875 folks out there. And yeah, a good chunk of those folks were Yankees fans. I ain't going to detract from them. They had a good showing because they're the Yankees. Okay, the evil empire has their pawns all across the country. But at the end of the day, the Royals got the last laugh in Kauffman Stadium. And right now, the Yankees have the 3-1 season series lead over the Royals. They will have 3 more games in New York in late September, which that'll be interesting to see because then, we still might be in a good chunk of the playoff race. Still might be looking at, okay, how does the wild card stack up and how do these 2 teams play into that? So I think that'll be fun. But it is still good to know that the Royals are at least still within striking range of a season series win over the Yankees. Last note, Royals still haven't been swept. Okay, it is June 13th, and the Royals haven't won at least one game in each series they have played so far this year. Just think about that. Think about all the times that we were just begging for one win in a series in 2023. begging them not to get swept to end whatever latest losing streak they were on. They really turned it around, haven't they? According to Royals PR, their 40-30 record is still 21 games better than their 19-51 start through 70 games in 2023. Think about that, folks. We're almost at the halfway mark of the 2024 season. It is coming up. All right, if you want to do some catching up, get some more informed on where the Royals stand, go check out royalsreview.com. A lot of great work over there from the crew. Coming up on the other side of the ad break, question mark, little transparency. I'm trying out a new recording platform, so we'll see how this goes. But coming up here in a little bit, we will hear from Maikel Garcia and also manager Matt Quatraro. Stay tuned.
Wow. Maybe the biggest career or hit of Maikel Garcia's career. Hey, these fans love you here today.
Thank you.
All right, he's catching his breath. I think everybody is catching their breath right now. Tell me what you're thinking. This is an unbelievable moment.
Yeah, I feel amazing. We get a win and never give up. Be ready for laying the game and try to have the win.
How much are you thinking about that possibility as the inning starts, that chance to maybe be the guy?
Yeah, we showed before in the season, and we keep going, we compete, and at the end of the game, you know.
All right. That feels probably pretty good today on a hot day. Let's give it some of that ice.
Feels good. It's too hot today.
Tell me about the grind lately. You guys lose all three in this series. You've been battling, haven't had the hits I know that you want. How are you able to find the confidence in that moment?
Yeah, Myers did a tremendous job today, hold the offense, the Yankees, and we just score early, and we play good today, so you know.
I got to ask you more about Marsh. I want to ask you about that walk-off again, but as good as we've seen him look, what did you see?
Amazing. It feels like Venezuela win a ball, and we just enjoy every day and go there, play hard every day.
That's a compliment to the fans. Venezuelan winter ball is very exciting and animated. How are you able to get up there and do what you did? Because you've been grinding a lot lately.
Yeah, I know I'm a good player, and just keep fighting every single at bat and every play, and be there for the pitcher or try to get something for help the team win.
I know you got to go cool off. You want to say goodbye to everybody?
The boys are playing some ball.
There it is.
I love it. The boys are playing some ball. I love hearing that from, oddly enough, I love hearing it from the English as a second language players out there. I love hearing it from Freddie. I love hearing it from Maikel, and I love hearing it from Salvi. All right, it's there's just some passion behind it, and I love that is the rallying cry for this team. All right, let's go ahead and get to Q's post game.
I couldn't be more proud of those guys. I mean, you're down. That's a really good team with an elite closer coming in. We've talked so much about it, but I never get tired of bragging about them. The way they go about it, the way they hustle, the way they never quit. I mean, it's, you know, I've talked about, it's inspiring to me to come to work every day to be around these guys.
Matt, how much did Drew's play in a way sort of encapsulate that?
Yeah, I mean, if you see him in there, I mean, he's cut up. You know, he went after it. He got every ounce he could out of his hustle and dove into the bag. I mean, certainly not what he would have hoped. You know, I'm sure he's hoping to hit one in the gap and coast into second or whatever. But, yeah, I mean, you got to do what you do. And Holmes is really tough. He gets a million ground balls. And for him to make that happen and get on base is a huge part of the game.
Away from Izzy's at bat, getting with 2 strikes there and still finding a way to get on.
Yeah, we've seen it, like we talked about pregame, the way he's really competed and started using the middle of the field, staying down on the ball. I mean, the whole key to hitting a guy like Holmes is it's got to start up, but, I mean, that ball is running like crazy, and it's super heavy, and for him to stay down through it is really impressive.
The ejection were specifically upset about.
He blocked the bag. It's obstruction.
Any of that frustration from maybe earlier in the series against the
No, it's from, we have a rule that's a new enforcement this year for that reason that was not called. That's what the ejection is about.
What did they tell you?
They didn't have obstruction, and you can't argue it.
Alex, about his outing.
Alec? Yeah. Can't get much better than that, right? Swing and miss. We talked about it pregame. How do you attack a lineup like this? You attack him. He had really good stuff. He was really poised. He didn't let the walks bother him. He just kept coming at him, and he had a really good game plan.
Man, on a day like this, when you are ejected, what's your first point of contact with them in celebration? I mean, are you at the locker room door, or how do you do that?
Yeah, number one in line, man. I mean, nobody feels better for those guys than I do. I mean, I wasn't out there to battle with them to the end, and that's frustrating, but, you know, they clearly didn't need me.
Okay, pretty clear from the crack of the bat on Garcia's hit that was going to be.
Well, we have such a delay on the TVs in here. We can't, it's like I don't know, 14 seconds or something, so, yeah.
Did you hear it then before you saw it? Could you hear the crowd?
No, I mean, I'm under here. Yeah.
I just wondered if there was...
No. I mean, you hear noise, but you don't know what it is. Like, you know, they were, in retrospect, they were standing initially to get going, but no, I didn't hear it.
Yeah,
Go ahead, yeah.
the offense's relentlessness, we've talked about it so much, but how much more impressive is it today, given the context of everything? I mean, you know, what you guys are going through right now, and then just had given up the lead late in this game, and kind of, you know, you're looking at maybe a potential sweep here, and then they still were able to put that away and come back.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's a big win. You know, I mean, it's better than the alternative, right? And we're be a much happier flight. Much more confidence going into tomorrow, probably. But, you know, Joe Dillon always tells me we score late so they don't have time to bounce back. So maybe they have this, they work this out.
With Alec, after he gives up the no-hit bid in the 7th inning, immediately comes back and gives 2 really tough hitters there. I wonder what stood out about that sequence for you.
Well, I was watching on TV, so I'm not really locked into what he was doing, but yeah, what really stood out, they were efficient outs. Like, he came right at him, and one of them was a breaking ball, I think I remember, on the fly ball. But he just kept him off the barrel.
Struck out Judge 3 times today. Judge struck out 4, but Alec especially. Just take his bat out of that lineup, and what does that do, you know, when he's attacking a guy like that?
Well, he's probably the best 1 or 2 hitters in baseball, so to not have him do any damage against us is a huge help. Now, that doesn't make it feel a lot easier in the middle of that lineup, but certainly when he doesn't do something, you're extremely happy about that.
Just the way you know Alec, I mean, obviously, like Andy said, you lost the first 3 games of the series. What did you think of just about his personality would lend himself to come out and have an outing like this and sort of be a stopper today?
Well, I mean, I think the way I feel about our rotation is somebody started opening day and somebody pitched the 5th day, but once you get going, these guys all give us a chance to win every day. You know, so 1 to 5, you know, who you're matched up against, it's not something that I think about. I think about Alec Marsh as somebody that I'm excited to see him pitch every time he goes out there.
All right, well, there you heard it. You heard from the man himself, Matt Quatraro. That some interesting questions from the press junket there at Kauffman Stadium, and you heard him talk about they're moving on. All right, they're not resting their laurels on this walk-off win. The boys in blue are flying out to face another boys in blue team out on the West Coast, facing off against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Just going to be another brutal test. And I'm hoping that the Royals bounce back confidently. You get the top 3 arms in the rotation to face off against the Dodgers: Cole Reagan, Seth Lugo, and Brady Singer. And on the flip side, you get the Dodgers, some of their best guys: Gavin Stone, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and then Tyler Glasnow will be facing off against the Royals. It's going to be a late one, folks. First pitch on Friday night is not until 9:10 Kauffman Standard Time. It's going to be some long nights. And then Saturday night's game is at 8:10 Kauffman Standard Time. Series finale on Sunday going up at 3:10. So should be interesting. You can catch all those games on Bally Sports Kansas City and 610 Sports Radio or the Odyssey app. I'm looking forward to it. Jeremy and I always talk about, this is going to be a good test. This is going to be a good test. Listen, this whole 20-some-odd game stretch has been a good test. Okay, this has been just a brutal series of games. Not a lot of time off. I'm sure that the Royals they will welcome some time off and some time against some easier competition. And again, this is still Major League Baseball, but as we saw against the Yankees, there are still levels to these rosters. All right, folks, I'm going to get on out of here. Like I said last night, unfortunately, I have schoolwork still. School is just kicking my ass, folks. It really is. So I got to get on out of here, and what we are going to do is you got to go check out royalsreview.com. You already know that, though. Go check them out. Go support them. See what you can do. See what you can learn. See if you can join the Royals community that is over there at royalsreview.com. If you want to follow along with us, our social media links are down in the podcast description below. So X, TikTok, whatever your flavor is, we got it on social media. So make sure to hit us up there. Also, my email is in the podcast description. I get it. Social media isn't for everyone. If you ever just want to shoot me an email, you can find that down below. My name is Jacob Milham. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. And until next time, go Royals!